Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we did have a little adventure today. We we had to meet. We had our usual thing in the morning where we did stuff, getting videos ready, making comments, answering comments, and all of that. We did all that usual stuff, and then finally we went out and we had to meet up with our friend Stephen from Hong Kong, who is special to us because he is one of our first. He was one of the first people that subscribed to us and contacted us and said that he wanted to meet. There are lots of things that are special about Stephen. He invited us up for the first time. We got invited out because of something that someone had seen on our channel, and he invited us up to a resort, and we went and we had a couple of days there, and it was very pleasant. And then he came and he actually stayed at our guest house, is how I remember it. So we enjoyed seeing Stephen, and it was one of those things where everything all seemed to come together at the same time. I mean, the same time. We had to pay our grader driver who finished today, and he finished, and we had to pay him up. So he was going to be finishing just before midday. We had to go in and get the three little girls' mother into the waiting line, into the line to see Dr. C. That's Dr. C is S-Y. Well, we got him in there, and very kindly, actually, the way that it turned out, Dr. C actually saw her very early on, and we were able to then go and have lunch with our friend Stephen, and it all worked out very well. But anyway, meantime, we put her into line and left them there, her and her mom and her daughter, and we scooted back to the road, paid off the driver, worked out how we were going to organise our next part of the job, which is to put base, what we've been told is called base surface. So base surface, base coat, base gravel, top gravel, however you refer to it in your particular way of describing it is fine. But here we've been told base gravel or base surface. So we've now got, the driver said, well, my brother does this and could do you a very good deal. And he quoted us a price which was really good. And so we're going to be going with that brother. He's going to stockpile along the way of our newly graded road. He's going to drop loads of gravel, base surface, and drop some here and drop some there, and dump them a little way apart so that we don't have to carry everything. So that done, and we got back. Well, when we went in to see Dr. C with the three little girls' mom, she's, if you've seen the video, God bless her, she's out of it at the moment. She was normally such a happy, smiling type of lady, always joking, always laughing, always one of those huge smile people. It was always great to see her. Well, now she's got this situation where she is in postnatal or postpartum syndrome, whatever you want to call it, and she's having a tough time. Well, she's also being cherished and supported by her family, big time. In fact, as we left, when we dropped her off today, as we were backing the truck out of the little driveway that runs up to their house, I said to Beth, you know, if she was in anywhere else, if she was in the West, I was just looking at all of these people that are around her. She's got her own children who are being incredibly responsible. She's got two girls there. Beth, the two older girls, how old are they? Yan Yan and Angelica.
11.
11?
Yeah.
Is Yan Yan that old?
10. 10 is
She's
Yan Yan.
10, so 10 and 11. And they're just taking care of her. Now there's, as you may know, obviously there's a pretty newborn baby. As a matter of fact, he's my godson. So we're very committed to this family, okay? The girls, there's 4 girls, and they feel like my daughters now. We've known them for so long. We watched them grow up, and I'm privileged to be called Daddy Terence. And so as we backed up, I'm looking at all of these people. There's neighbours, friends, grandmas, mothers, and they're all around this lady, and she is getting so much support. Everything was so gentle. We had a struggle at first. To get her to come with us. But finally the mom, pretty well, we pretty well forced her into the back of the truck. Very gently, of course, right? But we got her into the back of the truck. But when we were getting her in there, I thought it was incredibly sweet that the mother, she actually treated her daughter like she was a little girl again. And as she guided her down what was just a narrow gap between bushes and the truck, she was singing to her in that mother's crooning voice, which sounded so sweet, and she was crooning to her little girl, is how it came across. And she held her and gently guided her, and it was very, very sweet, very touching. Well, when Dr. C saw her, she was talkative but not really lucid, and he asked her if she, I think he asked her, did he ask her, did she know where she was, Beth?
Yeah, she asked her name, but she didn't answer, and then suddenly she talked something like, I'm gonna mop here, I'm gonna clean here.
She said that she was going to clean the place. The doctor said, no, you don't have to do that. Anyway, he pointed at Yan Yan, who had come with us, and he said, do you know who that is? And she said, yes, it's my daughter. He said, do you know her name? And she said, yes, it's Fruit. So I don't quite know where she got that one. But typical Filipino, even though this is really, it's a tragedy that this is happening. Even if it's a mini temporary tragedy, it's a tragic thing that's happening. She's got 4 children, one who is just a babe in arms, and the little girls, as I say, the oldest is 11 years old, has stepped right in and taken over. In fact, when we left some money with the family, as we've been doing, we gave the money to Angelica, who is the oldest, and said, you must be responsible and keep this, so that if you need anything, then you'll be able to buy it at the sari-sari store. She understood that. She's a lovely girl. Actually, there is one lady, if I remember rightly, you're going to kill me if you're not the one, or the one who should be is going to kill me for not getting it right, but I think it was Desi in Ireland, and she said that she was talking about the oldest girl, Angelica, who's got several teeth that have all gone wrong, and she said, you know, is it possible that you could find a dentist that would be able to put that right and help her to have a lovely smile, because she is such a pretty girl. Actually, they all are. So that accomplished, and we left and we got home. Beth is now driving. She drove 2 the city road from the house, almost from the house, and she drove back from the city road in the red. Everything went very well until the last minute, which was a very difficult part, and it is a difficult part, and that is going from the bridge up to the house. That takes a bit of skill, and she got halfway up, very good, and then the hill start, which is always a devil of a job, the hill start defeated her. So we'll be working on that. And so our adventures today have been good. We ended the day by me going out with Taliklik, and we drove from where the fork in the road takes from our main pathway, which has now become a graded road. From there it splits into two, and one goes up to Oping and another barangay or two, and in fact it goes up to Manarado's place, where that branches off as well. So we went from there and we drove up the road, and we drove up and we went right up actually on the road and went to see Oping, and we sat with Oping and his wife and had a chat for a little while until it went dark, and then we faced the Whack Whack and listened out just in case we heard any, which apparently is what the yak yak sounds like, or the Whack Whack. So, and then we got home, and here we are. It's actually nearly 8:30 right now, and we've had dinner. Here we are. It's the usual thing. We are winding down, but Beth is still doing the editing, and here I am. I'm still doing videos. It's the way that we are working. Now tomorrow we have another heavy day. That will be a 16 or 18 hour, 20 hour day. It means about 8 hours of driving there and back. That's what it takes to get to Tagbilaran, where we are. The roadworks are hard, and we're taking Dennis, and Dennis, as you know, is not, has been a heartbreaker. Sorry if that becomes an overused word, heartbreaker, but I don't know what else you would say if you were asked to sit in on an interview or consultation with a doctor and heard your friend being told that he had just a year to live. I don't know any other way to describe that. That seems to me to be a heartbreaker. Dennis is only about, I think he's 28 years old, not sure. Anyway, we learned when we were there last time, we learned that Dennis, having his leg amputated, is only to give him some relief, that there is nothing that can be done. And the doctor was, I guess in the end you have no other choice but to be, certainly appear to be cold. But he wasn't cold, and yet nothing quite prepares you for a real life situation like this. I mean, how many times have we sat through a death? Be it a murder, be it I don't know, somebody in some kind of a plot. I'm talking about a movie now. How many times? Well, gosh, it's just endless, and we're taken through it, and it's sanitized or glamorized or dramatized, and we sit through the whole thing. We have our emotions are stirred, and we might cry, or we might laugh, or we might do a lot of things. We might feel touched, or we may feel, I'm glad the guy died. I remember in Lethal Weapon, one guy who was trapped, and he was on the edge of a pool of molten metal in a factory, and Mel Gibson was there. Mel Gibson was the Lethal Weapon, and the guy said that the villain said to him, "Go to hell." And Mel Gibson said, with perfect timing, "You first." And then he pushed him off the edge. And we were happy to see the guy die. Well, all of that is not training for the real thing. All of that is training for nothing. All of that is training for watching another movie. To be trained for the real thing is to see the real thing happen. And then you realize that death is something that we're all going to have to face. Now, prior to that, we have been sitting with the mother of baby Faith, and she was distraught because she was waiting to hear what was going to happen to this little child. I've already described to you the incredible bond that could be, it was tangible, between her and this little baby of just 3 months. And if you look at the video, baby Faith's eyes are so alive. It's really astonishing. And we've been sitting there with her, and then they were told that the baby was out of surgery and that she could go in, and she disappeared. And while we were sitting there, a gurney was pushed through by a couple of attendants, and there was what was clearly a dead body that had been wrapped up in sheets. And that wasn't something that you see all the time either. Not in fact. No, not in fact. You don't really see that. And Beth turned to me and said, was that a dead person? Which of course the answer was yes. And then later we went down and we sat with Dennis, and I can't say enough about how impressed I was with just how brave he was. And then when we talked to his girlfriend, how incredibly brave she was, and it gave the lie, I feel it gave the lie to these bad-mouthing people who talk about Filipinos. This young woman could have left Dennis a long time ago, but she didn't. And she has stood by him no matter what. And now the worst possible news is that she will lose him probably within a year. And she's still there. And she will be there when we pick him up tomorrow and take him in. And she will be at his bedside after he's had that terrible operation. And she'll be there when we bring him home. So we're taking him in. We'll do what we did with baby Faith's mum, and we'll be there for whatever we can do while the operation is going on, and then we'll see her settled with money to get through the next few days, and then we'll come home, and then when we know that he's ready for discharge, which will only be for a few days, we'll go and get him. In the meantime, we're going to have to find a wheelchair. Now, we did find a wheelchair once before, but that was from Medical Mission Matters, and we got a freebie chair for Desiree. Well, we need to find another, and we're just trying to find out what the prices are for that. So we need another wheelchair for Dennis. As I say, Larry Malley, who is now gone, has left us. He did no more than just a very brief note. Says, why don't you come to the medical mission in Dubai? I have a wheelchair for you. Either that or Mike, maybe even Mike for Filipino Adventure, said Larry has a wheelchair for you. So we can't look forward to that again for Dennis, but we can find him a wheelchair somehow. We'll do it. Then we got to work out how we can modify the Big Blue into the kind of ambulance that can take a case of an amputee like Dennis. Well, we'll show you how that worked out, okay? This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in. Just bringing you up to date. Another big day tomorrow. We hope it will be good news all around, other than Dennis, which can only be what it is. But we're actually going up now tomorrow to see baby Faith, and hopefully, if it's right, if it's the right thing to do, we'll be bringing her home. So that's what we've got going tomorrow. Another busy day. It'll be another leaving around 6 and getting home probably about the same time. Okay, thanks for watching. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now.